It's ridiculous, guys. It's ridiculous.
The mayor of Toronto, Rob Ford, is denying some serious allegations. There are reports a video exists, allegedly showing someone who resembles the mayor smoking what looks like crack cocaine. Two reporters from the Toronto Star say they've seen the video. CBC News, again, has not seen the video and has not been able to validate any of the claims being made. Doug Holyday is the Deputy Mayor of Toronto, and he's dropped by our set to talk about these allegations. So, Deputy Mayor, first of all, you've had a chance to speak with the mayor today. Can you tell us a little bit about that conversation and about these allegations?
Well, the mayor denies the allegations and says there is no such video. That's not to say there isn't a video, and that people can make videos of anything they wish these days. I saw a video the other day about a big bird picking a baby up at a picnic site, and it turned out that was students who had engineered the program at their school, very cleverly though, and it appeared very realistic. And so we know that with the technical opportunities today, that people can make videos of anything. So I'm wondering why the Toronto Star wouldn't have purchased the video if they really had an earth-shaking story like that is certainly continent-wide. Why wouldn't they have purchased the video?
They say they didn't want to spend $100,000 purchasing a video, but that their reporters, they say, you know, the two reporters say they had a chance to look at this video 3 times, that it was that what they say was the mayor, someone who resembled the mayor, a third of the frame, 5 to 7 feet away, that it was daylight, that they covered the mayor, that it was his voice, that the mannerisms, it was just a match.
Right.
What do you say to those claims?
Well, I think it would have a lot more validity if they had actually got the video from the people, from the drug dealers they were dealing with. And that's another aspect of this, I guess, that lends itself to a lack of credibility, is that you're dealing with drug dealers, and heaven knows what's going on here.
So the reporters, they will say that, you know, they're not trusting drug dealers, that they're just trusting their own eyes, and their eyes tell them that that was the mayor smoking crack cocaine from what they saw.
Yeah. Well, as I said, people who watched that video of the bird picking up the child thought that was very realistic, and I saw it a couple of times, and I thought, holy cow, could this really be true? But you know, I had doubts, and certainly, as it turned out, there were doubts. And people make videos, they make movies all the time that are very realistic. Anything can be put on tape if you can plan it properly. And I don't know whether that's the case here or not, but it would certainly, I guess, take some of the doubt out of people's minds if they actually had, for $100,000, purchased that tape for a story that has such huge ramifications.
So there's a question for you. Is it important that residents of Toronto, that people see this video, if it does in fact exist?
Well, I think it's more important that the video be analyzed to see whether or not it's made up, or whether it is really a true video. That would explain a lot.
How's the mayor doing in terms?
The mayor was fine today. We had the flag raising for the gay pride people, and that went well. He said a few words there and proclaimed the flag raising event for them, and it's business as usual. He did speak with reporters briefly and told them that the whole thing was ridiculous and that he didn't really want to lend any credibility to the story.
And he said it's also an ongoing vendetta by the Toronto Star.
Definitely, and that's another aspect of this. There would be more credibility here if it wasn't the Toronto Star, I think, bringing this forward. But the vendetta with the Toronto Star has gone on since before the last election. It's grown as time has gone on. It's out of hand as far as I'm concerned. A major newspaper like the Toronto Star should not be in a fight with the mayor of the major city like they are.
They're just saying, you know what? They're just reporting the news. They just saw a video. This is that they've been reporting on the mayor's what they say are his substance abuse problems for about a year and a half, some of his problems with alcohol. What do you say to
well,
that?
They've made allegations, but they have never put forward any proof. They have followed him. They have gone to his home and spied on his backyard. They've gone to his summer cottage up near Huntsville. They've followed his mother. They've talked to his neighbors. They've done things to this mayor that no other mayor's ever had done to him. And it wasn't actually in the name of trying to find out whether or not he was using drugs. It was just to try to find something that they could bring up against him. And I guess this is what they come up with.
Why are you here speaking to us about this? Why do you feel that it's important for you to discredit all of this?
Well, firstly, you asked me to come on here, and I'm reluctant to say no to the media, actually, but I think it's important that people would reserve judgment on a matter like this until all the details are out.
What if, and now there was a woman, a resident of Toronto, who was in a clip that we just aired just before you and I started speaking. She said, you know what, if this video is real, if it is real, the mayor has got to go.
Well, if it is real, and that's hypothetical at this point, we'd deal with that when that is proven.
But can the mayor of this country's biggest city, if it is found to be authenticated, would you be comfortable having the mayor in a situation like that?
Well, if it was authenticated and the mayor had this kind of a problem, I think we should try to get treatment for him. What public opinion would be at that time, I guess, remains to be seen.
Let me ask you this, and that is, this is a big city. It's a complicated city. It's got a few million people. It's a budget of $10 billion. Is it challenging for the mayor to run this city, given the kind of challenges that he's had outside of his job as mayor of Toronto?
Definitely. Certainly the court cases were big distractions. As you know, the judges ruled in his favor. He wasn't removed from office over any of it. And even at that time, though, business as usual went on at City Hall. We held our committee meetings, we held our council meetings, we dealt with anybody that came for whatever permits they required, and business went on at City Hall just as normal. Not to say that there's not some distraction over some of these events involving the mayor, but it isn't the mayor that took himself to court, and it isn't the mayor that writes these stories in the paper, and it isn't the mayor that makes these accusations against him. I mean, the accusation about him being, I think, impaired at a dance or something, I don't think that was never been proven, but the Toronto Star put that on the front page as if that was a fact that no one could alter.
They say it's his allies that are worried about him, that's the reason why they came forward with that story.
Yeah, well, there's always a reason for whatever they say, but the fact is that the vendetta goes on, and it gets worse and worse. And I know people who have canceled their subscription to the Toronto Star, and I know that probably a lot of people have done that. And I imagine that that's another fester on the sore here, and I just think that they should have got together and called this off a long time ago, but they haven't.
Just a couple of quick final questions to you, and that is that the CBC News has learned that, in fact, the mayor has retained the services of a lawyer. Do you know why that is?
No, I do not.
Is there any consideration for taking the Toronto Star to court or suing the Toronto Star?
Well, I'm not sure of that. I imagine they're monitoring the matter, and I did read the Toronto Star story, and I can see a lot of couch words in there to protect themselves because they know they're dealing with an allegation that's unproven. And so they've put their story forward that way, and anybody who carefully reads it can read between the lines and read some of the things that they've said that would point to the fact that this may or may not be true.
You're a friend of the mayor's. What advice or what have you been saying? What did you say to him today about all of this?
Well, I told him I think he has to be open with the media, and the trouble with the media, it's not like an organized press conference with the mayor and the media. It's more like a mob, and it's very difficult for him just to say what he wants to say without yelling and screaming and carrying on by the media. And it's kind of tough for him to handle.
Today he said, these allegations are ridiculous, that's all I have to say for now. It was very, very short. I mean, there was, I guess, an expectation that he might have a few more words to say, or he might answer some questions, but he didn't. Why is that?
I don't know that, and perhaps he might have more to say in his own time frame, but I don't know when that would be.
Doug Holyday, very good of you to take the time today. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
That's the Deputy Mayor of Toronto joining us in studio. And we've been asking people in Toronto what they think of the latest allegations involving their mayor. Here's some of what they're saying.
Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but if it is, I mean, the guy's got to go.
But before you make an accusation, you have to have your facts straight. That's the way I look at it.
I think they should leave the guy alone for a little bit and let him do his job and stop focusing on stuff that's not really important to the taxpayers in Toronto.
Anyone can kind of Photoshop anything and say anything, so it'd be interesting if the video eventually does come out.
And if this is true, then they're going to think everything else is true, so I don't think he'd be able to survive.
That's just some of the reaction today on the streets of Toronto on the new allegations against Mayor Rob Ford.